Have you ever heard of somebody who abducts little boys?
Room below's got some horrible smells.
We don't want to go in there.
What are you doing?
Complimentary room service.
Hello and welcome to another Dollar Store Drive-In. I'm your host, Laura.
I'm Joel.
And we're the Newly Dads. And today we are bringing you another fun review that we did. If this is your first time watching us, welcome. This is a half-hour chat show where we talk about a movie that we've watched. And if this is not your first time watching, welcome back. We appreciate you joining us every week. This is also a podcast that we upload on to Spotify, so you can check us out there. I try to upload it regularly. Occasionally I fail. Sorry about that. For the ones that are listening, I did find out that at least one person we know listens.
We met a listener this weekend.
Yes, and she's actually a
friend of ours too. But
yes. So hi to you. You know who you are. But yes, so I'm going to try to upload this. Toot sweet. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
Toot
like the
sweet.
song.
Yes. Yeah, so if you, like I said, if you're a first-time watcher, first-time listener, you can find us everywhere that you want to, or all the places that you want to find us. You can go to thenewlydads.com for all of your Newly Dads needs. There you can find all the show information. You can find our Spotify channel. You can find all of the blog posts that Mr. Newly Dad likes to post, because he does a lot of different reviews. We are also on YouTube, and he does unboxing videos. We do a little show called Sinister Snacks, where we review different weird snacks and things of that nature. So yeah, come find us on thenewlydads.com. But today we reviewed a movie. Yes. And I'm going to talk about that movie in 1 second, because I also need to put my glasses down.
It's the last film on the set.
Yes, but before we do that, we do have some criteria for this movie. So it needs to be under $5. It needs to be a movie that is horror, thriller, or sci-fi genre, and it needs to be a movie that neither of us have ever watched before. So far, so good. There are 8 billion movies on this planet, and I don't think we're ever going to get through all of them. So we'll have lots of content for you until the end of time.
That got weird.
Yes, but this week I'm putting on my cheaters because I'm wearing my contacts today, and I'm having some trouble seeing out of them. We watched, not the last one.
Nope. Well, it's the last one on the set, because the last film on the set is The Severed Arm.
Yeah.
I've already seen that.
Okay.
It's already on the shelf, so we can't do that one.
Right. Yeah, we watched The Hatchet Murders, AKA Deep Red.
There you go. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no. This is an interesting movie. It is as you'll learn, done by a popular director. But yeah, so I'm going to read the synopsis and we'll get right into it.
Let's do it.
Sound good?
All right.
After witnessing a brutal murder by an unknown assailant, a musician is pursued by the maniacal psycho hell-bent on protecting a deep, dark secret, also known as Deep Red. It's a very short synopsis because it's on a classic slasher collection, 5 blood-soaked thrillers on 2 DVDs. So,
Indeed. And this one has been an early one for us. We got this early on. I don't even remember where we got it now, actually.
Yeah. I don't remember either.
I think it probably was
Hidden
Hidden Treasures.
Oh, yeah, Hidden Treasures.
But I am not honestly sure, but I think so. But it's definitely not Dollar Tree.
No, this is not a Dollar Tree find. This is a out in the wild find, as I like to call it. But yeah, so what we like to do is watch the trailer with you, and then we will discuss on the second half of this our thoughts. So the trailer, you can just make it whatever you want. Yeah, something, I don't know, era appropriate. So it's like the 1970s.
1975, although I've seen it listed as 76, but that could be the Italian release versus the American release. Don't know.
Hints, hints, hints. Yeah, so whatever you want that to be, maybe a little Fiat or something like that, you know? Like she had that car in there.
It did have a little, that was a junky little Fiat though.
It was cute. I liked it. All right, so we're going to pause it. We'll be right back.
I can feel death in this room. You have killed, and you will kill again.
What was that?
There are ghosts in there.
And we're back. Mr. Newly Dead has some notes.
I do. So anytime we watch film, I will take digital notes and then print them out. And then at the end of the year, Mrs. Newly Dead will collect them all, put them into a flip book, and you can find that on our aforementioned website. 2023 and 2024 are both currently available. So if you'd like to see all of the behind the scenes thoughts, comments, etc., as well as artwork, you can do that now. It is available. And at the end of the year, Mrs. Newly Dead will collect 2025. Put those up there so you can see all the ones like we're talking about now at that time. Now, Mrs. Newly Dead is committed to take notes the entire year. She's doing it in analog style. And so far, she is at 100%.
Yes.
100%. So at this time, I'm going to show her what I've drawn, and she's going to kind of tell you, and then you'll be able to see it later on if you're really that curious. So
Much better with you then. A weird little guy that looks very sad. He's like a decrepit little corpsey looking head. Yeah. A duck, maybe? Question mark?
Yep. And then just some notes.
Yeah. So like every time she said Marco, I wanted to say Polo.
Because his name was
There's
Marco.
a twist.
So she kept saying Marco, and I kept in my head going,
Polo.
the little guy I drew, like when I was drawing him, I was like, oh, this is so good. I'm like, wow, I'm really impressed with what I'm doing, which I never do that. And I just was like, just randomly just
I like
drawing. And I'm like, I really like this. And then as I was finishing up, I blew it up a little. And I was like, oh, I still like this. And when I printed out, I went, man, that was terrible.
Oh. Yeah, I like him.
What
He
happens?
looks good.
What do you got?
I drew this lady.
Is that the one you were talking about? You said, I'm really excited about this person you drew.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Oh.
You're like, I really like this guy I drew.
Yeah. And she's like a little witch.
She's got like a
little
hooky
witch
hand.
She does have a hook hand.
And it says, who done it? She's all like, meh.
Yeah, she's like trying to figure out who done it. And then I drew an eyeball. It says I see you with an EYE.
Is that a weird horse?
It is. It says I'm a weird horse. And then this little guy says, I'm dead.
Oh no, he's dead.
Yeah.
He's got some
He's the guy from the movie.
He's got some big tooths, and it says, nay. If the camera is shaking right now, it's because our dog Shaggy is licking the tripod as he wants to do sometimes. Don't know why, but
It's part of the character of the show. Or, yeah, part of the charm of the show.
there you go. And then
Yeah.
Bailey's laying on my lap, which I don't know if you guys can see him, but there he is right there. I'll lift him up. All right, so The Hatchet Murders, a.k.a. Deep Red, is from 1975, currently sitting at a whopping 7.5 out of 10 on the Internet Movie Database. Our films typically range between the 1.5 to 5 star range. So this is way outside of our normal comfort zone for films. Deep Red was the original title. The American release was dubbed The Hatchet Murders. I've heard differing stories as far as if it's been chopped and cropped for The Hatchet Murders. But overall, they said it's just a title change, which we watched the Deep Red version just for all, to let you all know the inside scoop. But we did go ahead and watch, because we watched a nice cleaned up version. Sometimes the one on these DVDs are kind of publicly sourced, so they're not great. And this one we did check it out, and it does have some slightly different titles and things. So anyway, this is directed by, as she mentioned, and co-written by Dario Argento.
I did not mention that.
You mentioned it was a famous director.
I did say it was a famous director.
Who, if you've not heard of Dario Argento, then you may have never watched a horror film from Italy before. Or America, actually. He's done some American stuff, too.
Yeah.
So he is known probably most for Suspiria, which is your brother's favorite film,
It
I
is
think.
my brother's favorite movie.
And soundtrack, and he loves Goblin, the
He's
musicians.
seen Goblin.
He saw them live, yeah. He also did Phenomena, which is, or I don't know if it's Phenomena, I think is the Italian, is what it's. I saw it as Creepers, The Creepers. It's Jennifer Connelly, early film for her. I saw it back in high school, and I had no idea who Dario Argento was or anything like it. So one of my first like horror films that I remember watching on my own is that one. So fun little fact. He also did Opera, which we watched on Joe Bob's Last Drive-In. Two Evil Eyes, which was on after Joe Bob's Last Drive-In. That is his collaboration with George Romero. And we watched that. That was I actually kind of like that one.
Yeah.
Now he also, I have him writing credits, which he also directed these as well, or some of them, not all of them. Inferno, I know he directed that one. Tenebrae, which is a big one for him that he also directed.
Yep.
Demone 1 and 2,
We've seen
which
those.
he did not direct the second one. I don't think he directed the first one either. I think he just co-wrote it, but I don't remember. I'll put it up here just to be sure. And Dracula 3D, which is a more recent film for him. He's still directing. This was also co-written by Bernardino Zapponi, which is a fun name,
I like that name.
who is known for City of Women, Paprika, and all ladies do it. Not all the ladies. All ladies do it. And it's not what you think, I don't think. And I did write here, I just noticed that I wrote not directed for Demons 1 and 2. All right, this stars one David Hemmings as the aforementioned musician who was in Equilibrium. Just something I'd like more of.
He's a pianist.
He is a pianist. He's a tiny
been a lot.
pianist. He was in Gangs of New York, which is a movie that has a weird story with me, but we'll get to that some other day. Under Siege, the Steven Seagal film, and Death Ship, which has a great poster with a different than Ghost Ship, with
Sounds like Ghost Ship.
a ship that's head on. It's got a skull for the bow, and it's creepy looking.
Ghost Ship's kind of like that.
Similar, yeah. This also stars Daria Nicoletti, who is a favorite of Mr. Argento, who was in Delirium. Paganini Horror, which is a recent release that I think Vinegar Syndrome did last year. Scarlet Diva, which stars his daughter, Asia Argento, and a lot of other Dario films she was in. This also stars Gabrielle Lavia, who was in Evil Senses. Beyond the Door, which we've watched Beyond the Door 3, I think it was, on Joe Bob. And The Devil is a Woman, which is the hot take, I guess. I don't know if the devil has a gender. And finally, Piero Vida, who, the only reason I listed Piero is because his only credit on the film, he was listed as Fat Cop. And I was like, I feel bad for this guy, because not only is he just listed as a police officer, he's listed as an overweight police officer. So he was in Stage Fright, which is a notorious slasher film where the slasher has an owl mask. Very realistic looking owl mask. They were in Man on Fire, the 1987 film, not the one with Denzel Washington. And Short Night of Glass Dolls, which sounds like a giallo film if I've ever heard one. So at this point, my lovely wife, who apparently is a little sleepy, turns to me and says,
What'd you think?
Anyway, so as you mentioned, the soundtrack was done by Goblin for this film, who also did Dawn of the Dead 1978, as well as Suspiria and a bunch of other Italian horror films. Very well known. I'd kind of put them in like the prog rock category, I guess. No vocals, just lots of music and organs and things like that.
Yeah.
This has a black gloved killer with a raincoat and a knife as a primary weapon. So all of those things equal
Giallo.
Giallo. Yep. So this is essentially less of a horror film in my interpretation, and more of a giallo. Which giallos are kind of proto slashers in the fact that they follow a formula, and it's all about the kind of hyper stylized kills and a main antagonist that is picking off victims one by one that you don't know who they are until the end. So
It's like a whodunit.
exactly, it's like Agatha Christie, but if Agatha Christie wrote Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Um,
The guy that's trying to solve the case, I mean, he's not a cop,
Nope.
he's the pianist.
That's another trope of a giallo, is that it's not the police that are the ones to. There's actually a giallo called "All the Police Are Fumbling in the Dark." It's about the other people that go and try and solve it. He's even talking about, I'm on the case, and he's got his friend who is not a police officer either, who's also helping him out. It's like,
Yep.
That's just another staple of giallos, and most of the time they're not supernatural or monsters. It's actually just people that are murdering people. So sometimes giallos get kind of,
Yeah.
like Suspiria is considered a giallo by some. And technically, it's more of a witch film, a coven.
That's more supernaturally
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But and they also have a lot of like bright red blood, stuff like that. Looks like paint.
Dario is known for very vibrant color schemes, especially Suspiria, where he just pushed it all the way. He's like, screw it, I'm just going all in. There was a cool shot that we both immediately picked up on where there's a diner directly across the street from the apartment building that the main character lives in, where the first victim is murdered. And it is literally Nighthawks at the Diner by Edward Hopper, the very famous painting. And we both were like,
Oh, the blue star.
yeah, we're like, is that what it's based on, or was it based on the painting? And we found out through a little digging that
It's an actual diner.
but it's based on the painting rather than the
And
other way
it
around.
looks just like it. It's, uncanny when you see it.
The people inside were just kind of standing there, like they weren't actually didn't look
Eating.
like they were really eating or drinking. They were just kind of posed,
They were doing their job to make it look like the painting.
which they did a good job.
They're even set up kind of like that.
There is a lot of kind of red herrings that are thrown at you, which again, giallo, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Laura at one point turned to me and she said, "This is like a Joe Bob movie." And
I just felt like, man, I feel like we're watching Joe Bob, because this is just like, pretty good quality, and seemed, like a movie we'd be watching when we're watching, The Last Drive-In.
and you kept expecting like Darcy to come in and throw some facts around or something like that in between, like he
Yeah,
was going
or
to pause.
She always gives, some shade to Joe Bob. Joe Bob just kind of rambles on a little bit
And now,
in a good way.
roll the film, and then he talks for another 10 minutes.
I liked it so much and thought of it as a Joe Bob so much that I actually wrote foo things in here.
You did?
I wrote mouth foo
Okay.
and head foo.
Yep.
Yes, there was mouth foo and head foo,
It-
right?
Sounds a little, but yes, there was. There's a creepy children's song in this that gets used a lot. At first, I didn't know how it tied in with the whole intro with the Christmas tree and the knife and the initial murder that was in the past.
Little kids' feet.
But by the end of it, you get kind of why they're using it, sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
It felt very dreamlike, which again, Italian horror films, that's kind of what they're known for, is being kind of ethereal and dreamy. And one of the reasons why I've always kind of had trouble getting into them is because I like things to be a little bit more kind of, not black and white per se, but it's just a different kind of feel.
Mhm.
And I'm getting more into it as I get older, but this definitely was in line with that. I thought it was interesting that one of the guys that was investigating this, one of the women that get killed, writes the name of the killer on the mirrored wall, and you can only see it if the room is steamed up, and he realizes that and steams up the room, sees the name of the killer, and what does he do? He doesn't go to the police.
Yeah.
Why? Why wouldn't you want the police that negatory there that you don't trust them or something?
I like how she was posed, because she was dead, but her finger was pointing at the mirror. Yeah.
Because that was her last, ditch effort to, I guess, finger the killer, so to speak. There was a bird that gets killed in this, which we did not like that part.
No. That was sad.
And I'm not sure whether it was really killed or not, because the blood that was there was, again, that bright red kind of Dawn of the Dead paint blood. But
So hopefully it was a fake bird.
yeah. And if nothing else, maybe they just made it look like it was stabbed. I don't know. I also noticed that everybody in Italy apparently has very large living quarters, like either homes or apartments are very big.
Spacious.
Spacious, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. There is a kind of a notorious scene in this, which a lot of the Italian giallo films have like one thing that kind of stands out that makes it like four flies on gray velvet has a mask that's kind of iconic. This film had like Billy the Puppet from Saw. You may recognize that character. It's like a mannequin that's been roboticized, and it like runs out of the closet at somebody with a knife, and it was pretty effective.
Yeah. Yep.
I did not like it.
I did not like it at all.
I wrote nope. I was very confused about the plot. And go ahead.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I'm like, why? Like the choices of like why some of the people. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like what was the logic behind the deaths, the murders that happened?
Was really no rhyme or reason on some of them.
And the twist upon the twist kind of felt a little like ham-fisted.
Yeah, because I was like, I was correct about. I actually wrote down. I was like, I was correct about the killer, and then I like, should I tell him what happened?
I mean, this is 1975. If you've not seen this already,
About me.
Oh, yeah, I was going to get to that next, actually. So what happened?
We started at 9:00, and at 9:40, I got sleepy, and then I kind of fell asleep a tiny little bit, but I didn't miss much. I rewound it and watched the end.
Yeah.
So then I wrote, I was not correct about the killer because there was another twist.
Because after it ended, she's like, "Can you rewind it? I want to see that last bit again." Plus, I wanted to show her what happened at the very end.
Yeah.
So because
I watched it.
There is, well, do we call spoilers? I guess not. Like I said, it's 75. It's a very popular film. Probably you've already seen it. If you don't want spoilers, pause this now. Go watch the movie. It's streaming. I'll put the streaming places up here right now. And then come back. Otherwise, we're going to ruin this for you. So I kept assuming it was one person. She was assuming, had her assumptions. And at the end, the first killer, because there's two, the first person and I don't know if that person actually killed anybody or they just were hiding the killer. Like they were kind of, but the way that the people died in this, they really, really got their comeuppance because the first person that said that they were the killer is running away, gets caught in by a hook on the back of like a garbage truck or something, a street sweeper. I don't remember. It was a city truck, and is being dragged along the street. Can't get loose. The guys driving the truck don't catch it. They drive around a corner and they swing out and hit their head on a curb and get knocked unconscious. And they keep driving, and then they finally realize kind of what's going on. And as they do, they kind of skid to a stop, and the person kind of slides to the side. And then another car comes from the other direction and runs over their head, and you see the head get exploded by the car tire.
Yep.
I was like, wow, if you really want to drive the point home that this person is getting their due, you did it.
Yeah.
But then the story keeps going, and you're like, okay, is it this other person that we thought it was? Nope, it's their mother.
Yep.
And there's a scene that you thought was funny where he's like, there was a painting that was there, and now the painting's gone, and then he realizes in the mirror that
he goes, wait, I remember what I saw. I saw her face. And so she's literally standing in the hallway, like up against the wall trying to blend in. So it's like, you walked right by her.
How did you miss
her? You see a whole human standing there.
She's not a small person either.
No.
She's
and so,
not like
but he saw her face in the mirror, and that didn't even give like a dead giveaway. They had a lot of really cool art.
Yes.
In the hallways, especially in that woman's apartment.
The very first kill.
Yes. Yeah. That's probably maybe what inspired that drawing that you did, maybe, because it's very like reminiscent. They're
creepy.
kind of like
the Goya stuff where it's kind of unsettling.
Yeah, and like Edward Munch or whatever, the screaming kind of like, melty looking kind of face, like
no eyes sometimes.
No eyes. Yeah, that's like my jam. I like that kind of
like
stuff.
Dante's, Inferno kind of looking weirdness.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I really liked the art on the walls. And so she was trying to she's got like a beehive-y kind of hair dude, and she had like a bun kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of bigger.
Yeah, bigger like bun head. And so obviously not a weird fallen apart face looking kind of like, everything was gray and black and white and stuff. And here she is just like
But there's this whole running theme about this painting that's missing, and he's like, they must have taken it. And then it happens again later. Like he's like, there's this thing that used to be there and it's not there anymore. And you're like, is he dreaming or
Right.
is it true? So when he finally realizes it and he notices that, he remembers that he was looking in the mirror and he saw her looking back, and that's what made the painting look different. It was one extra face, and yet he thought it was gone. I'm like, ooh, this guy's got some face blindness or something.
And obviously just walks right by the killer, just
Just standing
in
there,
the hallway.
blending in, tucked into the wall, apparently.
Not a dark hallway.
And if any of you out there are friends with Dario Argento and can find out who did the artwork for this film, we looked it up and got differing things. There was a whole Reddit thread about it that nobody ever could answer. One of the theories was that it was done for the film, possibly by Dario, but
Wow.
there's no definite answer as far as who did the artwork.
There's a
but
lot of art.
a lot of people are very curious about it online. So if you know, please email us at contact@thenewlydeads.com
Let us know.
because we'd like to know. So yeah, there's a double twist. The mom, when she dies, has a horrible death where her necklace gets caught in one of those old school elevators. Like if you've seen Cult of Chucky, or not Cult of Chucky, the one right before that. Was it Cult of Chucky? No,
Anyways, one of the Child's Play movies.
the second to last Chucky movie before the TV series. One of those old school elevators, with the gates, and you can see it going up and down. Anyway, so her necklace gets caught in it, and she gets decapitated by the elevator going
Slowly.
up or whatever. And it's very slow, and she like foams at the mouth, and
Yep.
you don't ever see her head after it's off, but you see it get cut.
And then blood on the neck stump.
And then you see the blood on the ground as he's looking into it, and the credits roll. Credits.
Deep red.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
it's the guy, the pianist, and he's just like,
Marco.
yeah,
Yeah,
kind
just
of
staring into the blood pool, like just
deep
freaking out.
red.
And that was the end of the movie.
Mm.
So
So, yeah, I did see the end.
she
Yay.
did. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. All right. So, should we give final thoughts?
Yes.
Okay. You want me to go first?
Sure, why not?
All right. I said Deep Red was a fun classic giallo film. If you dig Italian horror, this is right up your alley.
And my final thoughts are, I didn't see that coming, but I knew it didn't make sense. I don't even know if that makes sense.
And then what do you want to rate it? So let's do it out of, I even actually wrote down
Oh.
creepy paintings.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That gives me a lot of...
Out of 5 creepy paintings.
So for me, I like I said, I'm still kind of feeling my way through the Italian horror cinema. And so I ended up at a 3 out of 5.
I gave it a 4. I actually liked it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And I fell asleep
but-
during it. So that means I probably would have given it a 5.
It's not my favorite Dario Argento film, but
Yeah.
I did enjoy it.
Mhm.
So
It was fun. Fun.
recommended.
Yeah. So, but if they don't want to watch this movie, what do you recommend?
So I thought about
Blow
this.
stuff now.
Yeah, you can.
Pew,
I like when she makes the noises.
pew, pew.
And there it goes. So I was trying to think of other kind of proto slasher, weird twist, kind of a strange murderer. And what I ended up with was 1982's The New York Ripper, which is one of my favorite Italian horror films that is not like zombie or one of the big like monstery ones. But anyway, where there's and part of it also is that somebody in the movie says roast duck, baby. And the hook with the New York Ripper, number one, is that it takes place in New York, quotes. And one of the main guys in it is also in Pieces, which is one of my favorite.
He's not literally in
slasher
Pieces.
films.
He's in the film Pieces.
Right. He's one of the main characters in Pieces. But anyway, he's in it. And the killer in this, as it's taunting the police throughout its whole murder rampage, talks like Donald Duck.
Oh,
So he's like, and he gets very angry and he talks like that.
okay.
It's a weirdie. It's on the shelf.
All right. What are we watching next week?
We're finishing up another one that's got multiple
Whoa.
films on it. So
Blowing my mind.
this one is from 2016.
All right. I'm going to put my spectacles back on.
Spectacles back.
Double feature, Night Visitor, Night Visitor 2. Are we watching Night Visitor 2?
Heather's story.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do remember this. All right. Night Visitor 2, Heather's story runs parallel to the original Night Visitor, telling the story of Heather, a special young girl who must protect her family and the planet from the same other earthly being. The sequel delves deeper into the mysteries that plague the Stevens family and their son Ricky with the help of psychic and medium Daniel.
Which, from my vague recollection, we weren't super big fans of The Night Visitor.
I remember the people that were in it were horrible a-holes, weren't they?
Yeah, they weren't good people.
Yeah.
And the storyline was weird and kind of confusing. And there was a guest star at the end that's back in this film. So if you have seen that episode that we did, you'll know who I'm talking about. But if not, we'll hold off on that until we get, because it ties in with the director of the film and everything, and it's a whole thing. But,
I do remember. I do remember that.
Apparently they have a larger part, and I'm assuming that's the person they're talking about that is the evil entity from another world or whatever. I don't know. It's weird. So
yeah.
Then we're gonna get to blow that one up when it's done. That's another one out of the box, baby.
Sweet. All right. Well, once again, thank you very much for watching. That is the end of our show today. But until next week,
keep it cheap and creepy. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Doesn't mean you should go chasing the dead.
It may be your robot, but it's my house.
I'm gonna get a close look at these sharks.
Sounds dangerous.
Well, I'll be careful.
Speaking. What do you want?
To dedicate a killing to you.
Yeah.
Cop, getting a gift of this kind.
Thanks. However, you disappoint me, Duck. You throw a challenge my way. You don't have the guts to let me get there to watch the goings on. You wait till it's all over.